Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and this is my studio where I make altered books, art journals, collage, and other pieces using antique books and vintage paper. It's also where I make videos for this channel, and anytime I make a video using old paper treasure, I get a comment, question over and over, month in, month out, and that is, you have access to beautiful old stuff because you live in Wales, you live in an old country. But I don't live in an old country. I live in Australia, or I live in the States, which are pretty new countries, and I don't think that we've got the same antique books and paper that you have access to. Do you have any ideas for helping me source old paper where I live? And the answer is, yep, I got ideas. So today I am going to share them with you and hopefully shorten the learning curve if you're interested in finding old paper on your own. I don't know how it's going to work in Australia. Fingers crossed. I know it works in the UK because I've lived here for a long time. I know it works in America because before I moved here, I lived and worked in rural Mississippi, in eastern Tennessee, and in the mountains in North Carolina. And I always found old, charming stuff to make things with. So if I can do it, you probably can. If you like old books and paper and altered books, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notifications, and you will have more of them in your life. This video is going to be in two basic parts. The first part is the longest. It's where I'm going to talk about how you can find paper around you using your own eyeballs. The second part is going to talk about ways to help with buying it online. So if you think that you know already that's what you want to do, you can just skip on ahead and we will see you when we get there. Now, the first thing that you want to do is also probably the cheapest. So yay! That is, you need to talk to people, and you need to talk to lots of people and let them know that you are now a collector of old paper, antique books, and stuff. You have to do this because for some weird reason that I can't explain, there are more people who don't see the value in, say, an old calendar from 1911 than those of us who do. Believe me, I can't tell you how many times I have heard someone say, "Oh, you collect old photographs? Well, I wish I had known because my Aunt Minnie's cousins-in-laws just threw away boxes of them when they cleaned out their attic." That's why you've got to let people know. The only way that you can stop this horror from happening again is talk to people. Talk to people in your family, your cousins. Talk to people at work, at church, in your book reading group, in your kids' school. Talk to the receptionist in your doctor's office. If they're sitting still, let them know that you are looking for old stuff. That way, the next time that Aunt Minnie's cousins-in-laws clean out their basement, they will probably give you a call. That's just how it works. Now, the next group of people that you need to talk to loud and long and often are librarians, people who work in secondhand bookstores, and organizers of, say, jumble or rummage sales who will be getting donations of old books and paper. This might seem counterintuitive because they do work with books and paper, and some of them may know that old postcards are valuable, that there are people who look for vintage ads. They might know that and they might not. And the only way to make sure that they know is if you let them know. Another thing that happens even more often is they might receive a donation of something that's damaged. Books with loose or wonky covers and spines, paper that has water damage, or maybe even little tooth marks from mice in barns and things like this. And they may see that very well, understandably kind of see that as rubbish and just bin it before they even put it out, and because it's going to be taking up room that they could be using for nice new shiny paperbacks. Believe me, this happens. I have also found this out the hard way. So make sure that you make contact with people that are getting donations, and that you let them know that even if it looks really undesirable to them, that it might be desirable to you. Get the word out. Don't be shy, because remember, you're probably doing them a favor. If it was something they were just going to throw away and they can get a little something for it, then that's good for them and it's good for you. You need to educate yourself about vintage fairs that you can get to. They may not be in the town you live in. They might be 2 towns over or 4 towns over in another county or across the state line. That's why you got to find out about them. They're usually only once or twice a year. So what you want to do is go online and search. Use keywords like vintage fairs near me, or vintage fairs in Lucedale, Mississippi. You are probably going to get hits of calendars and events. Again, it might not be in your town. It might, you just don't know it. But it's more likely to be somewhere that you could get to. And you need to cast your net further afield and think about looking in these places. So decide what is a reasonable perimeter for you to make yours, and find out when the dates are, get them on the calendar, grab a friend and plan a road trip. Also think about vintage clothing shows, if those turn up in the hit, because even if you don't wear stuff from the 1920s, they usually have someone there or several people there who sell old magazines, ads, and photographs. So, and they're fun. So when you're making these road trips, you will sometimes see signs from the big roads saying antique co-op this way. An antique co-op is where a lot of people get together to share rent in one big space, and then they all have little kiosks where they sell their stuff. So you have a lot of people in one space. They also are more expensive than a yard sale, but cheaper than a proper antique store. And you've got a lot to choose from. So keep an eye out for those. Go to them regularly. You're going to find stuff. So if you are looking for paper in the wild, you are going to be looking at estate sales, yard sales, secondhand bookstores, library book sales in your community and around you, thrift stores, charity shops, jumble sales, rummage sales, and the occasional antique co-op. You can buy online. It's not as much fun, but it is consistent. So let's talk about that. The 2 main places where I would look for old stuff online would be Etsy and eBay. On both of these platforms, you're going to use similar keywords. And that is something like vintage paper for junk journals, or paper ephemera bundles for junk journaling. Now, even if you, like me, don't make junk journals, for some reason that is the way that it is very popularly promoted. So use those keywords, see what you find. If you're on Etsy, you can actually go to the right-hand corner and filter. One of the filters is going to be price lowest to highest. So you're going to search for vintage paper for junk journaling or something similar. You're going to get a lot of hits, a lot of stuff to look at. Filter it according to price, and then it's going to rearrange those listings so that it will help you see what's in your budget. You can buy things on Etsy such as old buttons and photographs and ads and whatnot. And you should definitely look, but I do find myself that I get better prices on eBay. So let's look at that. Now, eBay is my online shopping venue of choice. Etsy is a really good tool, but I find that for what I'm looking for, I have more selection on eBay. You want to if you're searching on eBay, you want to play around with your keywords. If you're looking for photos, you want to look up old photos, vintage photos, antique photos. Those may give you slightly different results. See which one makes you happiest. Be sure and use the word lot, vintage photos lot, or if you're in Britain, job lot. This will filter out the people who are only selling one photo or one or two and give you the listings with people who have, say, 30, which is a way better use of your time. The other great thing about eBay is you can save your search. You've put all this time into finding out which keywords work for you. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. I look for handwritten ledger papers. And so that meant that I had to look up vintage ledger, antique ledgers, antique account books, handwritten books. And finally, I found one that works for me is handwritten ledgers. So this is a screenshot, and I've gone and put in handwritten ledgers. And yes, I know this is backwards. I'm so sorry. Handwritten ledgers, and it gave me hundreds of listings. Here, this is where you want to look. It says save this search with a little blue heart. Click on that and it will prompt you to turn on email notifications. Turn that on. And what that's going to do is give you an email in your inbox most days, letting you know when there are new postings for those words. This is good for a couple of reasons. It reminds you to look every day, but also it helps you find something that's in your price range. For me, handwritten ledgers are really, really pricey. But by looking every single day, eventually, once in a while, I find one that I can afford. Sometimes that's dumb luck. Sometimes it's got damage to it that puts other collectors off, but not me. So save your search, get those emails, have a look. When you find something that you really, really want, it may be a buy it now, or it may be in an auction format. And that auction may be several days away from closing. So what you want to do then is click on, to the right of your photograph, it's going to say add to my list. Click on that, and it means that eBay will then send you an email letting you know when the auction is about to close for this item, and you will have a better chance of remembering to bid on it. Whew! That's it. I hope this has given you some ideas to get up and running. I also want to point out, and you knew I was going to, that I do sell vintage French paper ephemera bundles myself. And if you'd like to look at those, there's a link in the text below this video. There's also a link to my website where I have free paper scans. They're high res. You can just go get them and put them in your own work. While there, please subscribe to my online newsletter. It comes out once a month, and every month I have new free scans of old paper and whatnot. It also has art tutorials, a little bit of fashion, some history, and the occasional pep talk. So please join me. Also join me next week when I will have a new video showing how I make an altered book layout. Until then, happy hunting.